Coming, I'm gonna fish hook both sides of the mouth, split the person's face open, grab the nose, peel that back, grab whatever's here.
Right.
There's several animals in me, but the lion is most prominent right now. And everything I do is that. You know what I'm saying? It becomes a part of you. It becomes a part of your essence, the way you walk, the way you look at people. That's why, I didn't even notice that people were like, why you coming here like that? And the lion has a presence. When it walks in, like, people know it's a motherfucking lion.
That's the king.
You know what
Everything
I'm
stopped.
You know what I'm saying? And the whole thought process of combat, with me, it's like, how dare you? And my uncle, he was a lion. And I so understand his mentality now that I've embraced it as much as I have. And it's like, don't you know I'm a motherfucking lion? And you just decided that you were going to attack me? You about to. It's like it's almost like a reputation thing. Like, I'm going to make an example out of you to everybody else who thought that, that shit, and you basically just, you strengthen the hands and the characteristics of it. So even like what we were doing earlier, like if I was doing this, that, it's the same thing, except for I'm in more and I'm turning that. And if you do certain exercises, when you grabbing shit and turn,
you in the muscle in there,
and all of it, what I'm doing here is just, it's so nasty, because say I come here, I can just easily grab the person's lip and I would smack that down and then just keep coming here. And it's a lot of bite. And it's a lot of fish hooking.
There's a lot of biting in the system.
A lot of biting, a lot of fish hooking. If he was coming, I'm gonna fish hook both sides of the mouth, split the person's face open, grab the nose, peel that back, grab whatever's here. Everything with every muscle and fiber in your body. I know a lot of martial artists.
Jesus. Hey, bro, you just can't run past that shit like that wasn't nothing.
I know a lot of martial artists love grabbing the back of the arms. Like, say you choking me. People love. But
that's a different grab.
And the whole thought of, you grab you choking me. I'm going. How dare you? And how you showed how you grab the throat. That's because lion likes to get in tight. Here, all of this stuff is, I want to get
right. Ripping range.
And that's where the biting and, you know, you grab the person's ear.
Oh, so you bit the arm.
I'm biting whatever's there.
Yeah, most people, when you say biting, thinking Mike Tyson, get the ear out of your face. He went straight into the, shoulder. Okay.
Whatever's there. And the lion disembowels you. And
do you have to train? Yeah, like, do you do something to train, like your jaw or something, like for biting? Like you would train your hands for striking?
Not necessarily, because biting.
It's just a natural bite, whatever you get.
Bite, now you can.
Is there a technique to biting that you use?
You can. Honestly, I do chew tougher things to really build the jaw.
Strengthen the muscle.
Yeah, there's certain, you know, I'm giving away some heat. There's things you can, like jaws, they call it jazzercise. I forgot the ones I got. There's things that you chew. You put them in the back of your mouth and you chew on them, and it develops the jaw muscles. You know, and that's what people don't realize. Like if you're doing a so-called animal system, you're becoming that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no, I'ma just.
Right.
And the whole energy behind it, like palm strikes are very effective, but you have to pair your palm strike with the strengthening of the hands, and you strike with the palm and then grab. And like that's why I say.
So are you conditioning the palm and the fingers? What kind of exercises do you do to condition?
Fingertip push-ups. A lot of the grippers, you know, I like Captain's Crush. What else? There's certain gloves. I got a pair of gloves. I forgot what they call. They have straps on them, weights on them.
The ones that the fingers. Yeah, I seen those.
And there's exercises that you can get 3 sticks. I hold 3 sticks. You hold 3 sticks. You hold them like this, and I have to stop you from moving them. And as you do that, I'm going here, here, and that just. If I was to grab somebody and just turn, that's breaking, that's shattering.
Yeah.
And that's even if a lion doesn't always have to claw. If it, that's a claw in itself. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to grab.
Be tearing the claw.
It can grab here and just and all of that. You grab. You want to be able to grab anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm going here. I'm going straight up your nose. And it's immediately as that comes off, that comes the palm strike. And if you rip a person's nose off, it's going to be nothing but flesh and stuff there. As that flesh and stuff is there, you dig that out.
That's flesh and stuff.
All of the gristle.
The bone gristle.
All of that.
He says it so casually, though. I just ripped the face off. But how easy is it to actually rip into the face? Like, could somebody, like if you just taught this to I know you wouldn't, but if you taught this to a student on their first day, would they be able to go out and do it? Or is it something that takes a while to develop?
They'll be able to cause some damage. They wouldn't be able to cause, it depends. It's situational. They'll definitely be, if somebody, because I don't want to grab your face like that, but all of this is soft. Yeah. And that's barely doing it. You have to think about shit.
Oh, shit. I know y'all didn't feel that, but that was real.
You got to think about putting your, when you do something, I put everything into it. Like arm wrestling. Like arm wrestling is a technique. It's not just the arm. It's a pull, some of them pull back, turn their shoulder. But if I grab your face, lock that arm in because the lion's locked. If I grab that face, do all of that type of turn as I grab your face here, put that hand there. Yeah, that's you pulling with everything.
And I notice you always use both hands when you caught. It's not like a crack. It's always like a.
A lot of it, because because I'm coming in. It depends on several things. It depends on, are you prey or is this another lion fight? Is this a fight? Ripping with the feet, all of that type of stuff. It's such a violent thing because it is, the people that really do this, if you lay there dead, it looks like he was killed by a leopard.
Like he was mauled by a cat, big cat.
And that's because he technically was.
So where does this come from? Where does
there's throughout Africa, there's different societies in different areas, and there's crocodile societies, there's leopard societies, there's lion societies, there's elephant societies, and and those people in certain areas, they are really that. It's a secret society that you have to be in. And what certain things I want to say, but I don't know if I should.
Yeah, like, don't give us the secrets.
No, even, like if you were part of the crocodile society, you can go in the water and be with the crocodiles. They will not eat you. You're
on some Crocodile Dundee shit or
Crocodile Dundee shit. Real. Look at the croc. No, they're in the water, and if you get in the water, they're one of them.
As one of the real crocodiles.
And
they acknowledge you as one of them.
They got the crocodile medicine on them, to where those people in other societies, they can see, like even if you walking around regular, they can see what's on you because they got the eyes to see. They got certain sight. They can see. Oh, that's one of them crocodile people. Crocodiles don't get along with leopards.
When they see it, does it look like a Killer Croc on Batman? Does it look like half man, half croc?
It's just an aura of crocodile over you, But crocodiles don't get along with leopards, so they kind of stay apart from each other. You know what I'm saying? But, you can look up leopard societies and stuff like that. Where Marvel got the Black Panther from, they heavy into African culture, and CIA got records of shit that they went and stole and documented and learned. They ain't got all the sauce, but they got some, they got some sort of information from over there.
So, has your school kept this? Well, you do all the animals, but has it kept has it changed any throughout the long time that it's been around to modern day?
I mean, it definitely changed with us. We do it more entheogenically. We're taking power plants and stuff like that. Back in the day, with folks around, they were into the entheogens too, but they did it an older school way. You know what I'm saying? They did it a lot more. They went through a lot more, and I can honestly say they were a lot better than us. You know what I'm saying? They were the old school warriors. They were real life, unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Like they, if you think I'm bad, they were shit that movies talk about. They did. You know what I'm saying? Unbelievable shit.
They say art imitates life.
The snake in our system, he could stick his fingers through a brick wall. The level of, he broke his fingers plenty of times and will keep going. That level of dedication. I break a pinky.
I don't think I'm the snake. I need a new animal.
The snake ain't for me. But to be able to have that type of discipline and, a bullet's so powerful because it's so small. That snake is the same. This is like having a knife for a hand. You know what I'm saying? He was so strong. He could climb a rope like that. No feet, just grab a rope and pull himself up.
That's crazy. You know what type of body strength and coordination you have to have to do that?
He could go in the corner of a room and suction himself at the top of the corner of the room. Nah, that ain't just, they was on some other shit. You know what I'm saying? He saved the baby from a second, dive roll, catch the baby roll. All those type of valid stories. And you hear some of this shit, like, even being a part of them, like, did that shit really happen? And then somebody else, oh, when he saved the baby, it'd be randomly. It was a story about my daddy, ripping this guy's lip off. He grabbed him, ripped his lip down, and it was like two jokers who had like a Joker smile. And I'm telling that story, and a good brother of ours, he did security around the city. He's a Big Ox. He was like, "Oh, I was there," you know. So it'd be verified. He was like, "Man, that was one of the most gruesome things I ever seen, man. I was there." I'm like, you know, so it
What a nigga got to do to get his lip ripped off? what kind of disrespect? I want to make sure I never reached that level.
I don't know, and that's why.
It just hit me in the jaw.
But a lot of that comes with responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To be able to, you know, not do that. You know what I'm saying? Now, it may happen if I get into a situation out in the street, but you know, you have to not be able to. You know, sometimes you have to calm that down because, you know, a lion steps up to challenges.
Mm-hmm.
You challenging me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you have to, you know, because this situation where I had to stop myself. You know, I had somebody down and my thumb was in their eye, and I'm like, you know what? This ain't worth that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times where you catch yourself. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times when you don't do that, but it's in there. And sometimes you may have to do that, you know. And that's where I say, like, in certain situations, I look at movies and I look at certain things, I'm like, what would I do in that situation? And I'm like, I will kill them. And that's what I mean, like, when you talk about grabbing somebody's throat, I'm going to explode their throat instantly. Because, like, I got daughters now. Daughters is different.
Mm-hmm.
There was a comedian that said this shit perfectly. He was like, when you have a son, it's like, damn, I just met him and I die for him. Love this little dude. I would die for this, you know, everything with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have a daughter, he's like, oh, I will kill.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you have a daughter, you become an instant murder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, damn, that shit said it perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Because
I'm like, okay, imagine you see a guy over your daughter and she's horrified. You know, I'm not gonna grab your throat. I'm gonna take my feet, hips,
mm-hmm.
and in the midst of that, I'm grabbing and I'm ripping out instantly. And when I put my thought process over my daughter, all of that has to happen like that. Mm-hmm. What if he got a gun? He's dead instantly. I become that person.
Yeah, where's the switch?
Because I have to instantly. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All of that, I'm quick. Instantly.
Yeah. It comes off really quick. There's no play with it.
That's why I say you know, the sport is good. You know, I respect it. But you can't just be, you know, in those situations, you can't. That might not work.
So I was getting ready to ask that too. You took it. Is there a way that you could you take a lion into the MMA? Could you translate it into sport, or is that something like, no, bro, if I pull this out, this just, there is no way that I can make this into a sport.
It's too real. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't put that into a sport. Now, there are some people that may do animal forms and may want to go out there and say, bow, bow, you know, bow, bow, bow. No, but animal fighting.
Even that wouldn't be real, right? Because
it wouldn't be real.
A cat's not just gonna paw. Yeah, them claws is really.
It's no claws, no bite.
Yeah.
It's sporadic. It's, you know, it's real.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? MMA doesn't get real martial artists. Mm-hmm. They don't get the people that do.
Well, they're few and far in between.
No, don't get me wrong. There's some real motherfuckers in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for the most part, it's just some ex-wrestlers. You show them some kicking and punching, and some of them can really bang. Like I said, I ain't taking nothing from nobody.
Yeah,
I don't disrespect nobody what they do. People disrespect what I do all the time.
I know, man. But I don't know why that is.
But You know, they didn't get the Iron Palm people to fight in MMA. They didn't get the people that do the real baboon fight. You know, baboons bite. Baboons,
yeah, you essentially can't do what animals would do because in animals, there is no restrictions. There's no ref. I'm only doing what I need to do for survival, or I feel threatened in some kind of way. And so there is no limit. I don't have a, you know.
And even with certain, like when I really was doing leopard,
like a crocodile can't bite you a little bit.
No.
Like you either bit or you die.
When I was doing leopard, if I hit you with this, you know, I know nobody, I mean, that sternum is so, it's a vital part. But some people might be able to punch and take that. But if I hit you with a leopard fist, that's going to crack that sternum. And it's going to be a devastating, you know. Like when I really was, you know, doing push-ups like this, I'm like, I don't even want to hit somebody with that.
Yeah.
That shit, you know, whatever they put out, you know, that is going to crush and really cause some serious damage. This ain't, and it's for vital spots. You know, this is for throat, this is for eyes, this is for, and it's so quick. This ain't, which, like I said, I love boxing. It's such a beautiful art form. You know, to be able to really go out there and really, you know, learn all of that is beautiful. But it's still not, you know, if I hit you with certain weapons, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know,
your jab cross doesn't equal my strike. You know what I mean? As much as we put into a strike. Not all the time, not with everybody, but for the most part, 9 out of 10 people who box, you know, unless you up here Terrence Crawford level, you know what I mean? Unless you Bud Crawford, you ain't.
Animal strikes are different. Animal strikes are, like I said, I love the leopard. People, somebody was like, oh, that shit ain't gonna work. That shit ain't gonna work. And somebody was like, yeah, but you can't do that shit in a real fight. I was like, well, you know, like I did one thing, and because I was just doing, you know, just here. He went to throw a little kick. I said, and hit him in the inner leg. He was like, oh, I see what the fuck he like. I see what that shit. I see what it is. I see what it is. But I ain't gonna lie. I gave it to him more than I thought. But it's how a leopard hits. It's swift. There's
no play with it.
You know what I'm saying? And no, I wouldn't put that in no sport. You know, because if it's too dangerous. There's certain shit that, you know. Oh, that stuff is.
It almost sounds like the Navy SEALs and Special Forces need to learn the lifestyle.
It's. I mean, the ones who really in the shits, some of them get some of that shit. You know what I'm saying? There's certain. I know some people who.
Do you know other lion practitioners around the world? How many people do you think, or schools do you think have that knowledge? Outside of y'all,
I know one other person, and we know them. You know what I'm saying? Now, whenever we go to the continent, there's definitely some people and some, you know, tribes and society that I want to visit. You know, hopefully they'll be open to share. Because one thing about Africa is, you know, they don't just give shit away. They got to see who you are. You know, and,
it's very much our culture. Very conservative.
You know,
you gotta earn your way.
That's why they call it. That's why they call Africa the dark continent, not because of black people, because it's all of it. Africa still believes in secrets. You know, people think Africa ain't shit because most folks are stupid. Most folks don't need to know what they have. And in the reality, especially in the martial arts world, when it comes to black people, we need to be knocking Africa's doors down, trying to get this information. We need to be going to Nigeria. We need to be learning the real Yoruba arts, because the Asian systems are absolutely phenomenal. I love them. I know, you know, I train in some of them. You know, when certain people are around, I want to get as much as I can. but that stuff is for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's technically the grandchildren of what you're supposed to have. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff is in things that it's mind blowing once you truly understand African culture and martial arts. Now they wouldn't call it martial arts, but what we would get from our system, from our culture, is more powerful than what we would get from somebody else's.
From somebody else's cultural system, yeah.
And the magic, just in looking at certain people, black people in Asian systems, they take the Asian system and kind of make it their own anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's certain.
I was just about to say that too.
There's certain ways that we move and that we grew. We got rhythm to us.
We gave it, right? We gave it to the world, and then now when it comes back, it's like, oh yeah, this is something about this. Yeah, this is natural to me. And so then we take it and then we put that black shit on it, right? Mm-hmm. We put that color on it, and now other people in other cultures are like, oh, I was doing this, but I like how you do it. Like, I was giving a demonstration the other day at the mayor's event, mm-hmm. and we got out there. The guy announced us there at the Tai Chi school, and these ladies came up to me after the demonstrations. They was like, when he said Tai Chi, like, me and our group was about to walk away. And it was some white ladies, right? They was like, we was about to walk away because we was like, we don't like Tai Chi, whatever. But the way you did it, mm-hmm. we love that, and guess what they named? It was like, when you turned the music up and you started dancing with the Tai Chi, like, I like that Tai Chi. I've never seen it like that. And that ain't nothing but the African originality of Tai Chi, the origin, right? That's how we gave it, but a lot of y'all don't understand it like that and haven't kept it like that. You've only kept what you understood. Mm-hmm. So once you give it to the grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, and we start unlocking things, listen, don't sit here and say, oh, that'll never work. Understand, like, you know what I'm saying? Not only have we unlocked it by the Asians giving us karate and this and that, but then, like you said, we traveled to the elders, the ancestors, and to the, you know what I'm saying, going back to the motherland and talking to all the old Infundishis and being like, okay, so tell us what's what is this? And they're like, oh yeah, so you'll see it like this with the Asians. You'll see it like this over here. You'll see it like this over here. This is how we originally gave it. Then you start to see how, oh, now we start unlocking it. And then I think that's how, we're two of the youngest, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the most elevated martial artists at our age, because we've had time to unlock it from, the Asian perspective, the Filipino perspective, you know what I mean?
And the thing about it too is, once martial arts becomes at higher levels, it's kind of all the same. Now,
oh God!
Now,
yes.
Style is kind of the wrong concept. Style, you have your own style. Mm-hmm. I have my own style. Mm-hmm. Style is personal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But systems are
scientific,
right? Are a certain way.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a science.
That's why when we teach certain things, we teach it a certain way to preserve the system. Now, you develop your style in the system, and your style is your style. But as African people, we dance. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people,
and our style is fluid.
And people have been seeing dances, and they think it's just dances, and it's not. And it was a movie that really made this popular. Africa did not disguise their martial arts and dancing to hide it from slave owners. This is older than that. Mm-hmm. This is before there was a white man on this planet. Mm-hmm. These systems are so old, so ancient. It is unmeasurable. It's older than this planet.
That's how we pass them down through the griots. We pass things down through music. We pass things down through the dance, right?
And the real knowledge is
that was the first form of kata, by the way.
It's from mouth to ear. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's kept in societies. Like it's certain people around that's so-called in the African martial arts. And every time you try to present them to something, first thing they want to do is, well, can you send me some records of this? Can you do this, that, and the third? I'm like, first of all, you have to be inducted into a society, and it's from mouth to ear. You know, it's not. I'm not about to be able to see that. Because they looking for, they're too westernized.
They're looking for a Western.
I'm not aware of this.
Yeah, you're looking for a Western accounting for it, and not.
Do you understand how vast Africa is? So of course you may not have heard of this.
You're not gonna know what it is.
Yeah, so you may not be aware of this, but that's where we're supposed to come together and make it and help each other become aware of it. Because you may have something that I don't know that I may need, and I may have something that you don't know that you may need, and that's what it's about. We are, custodians holding this art for the next generation. It ain't really for us.
That's none of ours. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Well, we just links in the chain.
Exactly.